The state of Florida is a magical place with a diverse population and a rich history. I recently took a road trip, attending a Masonic official visit and a Florida Atlantic University Alumni Association meeting. After that, I drove up to Lake Okeechobee and into history. To attend the Masonic function, I stayed at the Embassy Suites in Palm Beach Gardens. This is the lobby here. It's really magnificent. The Grand Master of Masons in Florida for 2018-2019 is Medical Dr. John Karoom. Here he is being presented an award from the Florida Sheriff's Association for support of Florida's youth.
On behalf of the Florida Sheriff's Association and the Florida Sheriff's Youth Branches, we present a small token of our appreciation for your support of Florida's youth. We'd like to present you and the Grand Lodge this honorary lifetime membership plaque.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Chair of the Alumni Association Board, Pablo Paez.
After my two meetings, my road trip took me out to Port Mayaca on Lake Okeechobee. You can actually put your boat into a waterway in Stewart and traverse the state of Florida coming out into Lake Okeechobee at Port Mayaca. These are the locks. You eventually exit the waterway on the Gulf Coast. This allows you to save many miles of travel around the peninsula of Florida. On September 16, 1928, a hurricane came ashore near the Jupiter Lighthouse and traveled west across Palm Beach County to Lake Okeechobee. This is the lake here. It looks like the ocean, but in fact it is a super large lake, Lake Okeechobee. This deadly hurricane destroyed hundreds of buildings and left behind millions of dollars in property damage. Many of the 1,800 to 3,000 fatalities occurred where Lake Okeechobee's dike collapsed, flooding the populated south side of the lake. Approximately 1,600 victims were buried in mass graves in Port Mayaca in in Martin County. Approximately 743 victims were buried in mass graves in West Palm Beach. Many other victims were never found, and this sign was sponsored by the City of Pahokee and Glades Community Development Board. This is the site of those mass graves. In 1925, Mr. Solomon Davies Warfield, then president of the Seaboard Airline Railways, found what he believed to be the perfect location to build the centerpiece of the now Indiantown. Originally, the Seminole Inn was used as accommodations for guests of Warfield and as well as railroad dignitaries. The inn opened in January of 1926 in a big gala event at which Warfield's niece, Wallace Warfield, is believed to have been the hostess. Wallace Warfield went on to marry and divorce Ernest Aldridge Simpson, an American businessman residing in London. This is where she met Edward VIII, then Prince of Wales. In January of 1936, Edward became king of the British Empire, but he abdicated the throne in December of 1936 to marry Wallace Warfield Simpson in France on June 3, 1937. Here is the honeymoon suite of King Edward VIII and Wallace Warfield Simpson. The Seminole Inn is still a functioning inn and receives guests to this day in 2018. This is the little garden in the back and the lobby when you enter. The dining room, seen here, hosts parties for the area to this day, and the breakfast lunchroom off the garden serves full buffets and homemade foods that are so good and tasty that people drive from several counties away just to eat at the inn. Be careful though, as brunches and lunches are only served until 2 p.m. I tried the homemade pies and they are just scrumptious. And so ended my road trip, but I plan to explore more of this area in the future. As I said in the beginning of this video, Florida is really a magical place with a rich and diverse history that we should not forget. That history has affected world politics, and we continue to do so. See you next time.